Good evening, everyone. You're watching Bharat Voice. I am Ritika Acharya, and today on Bharat Voice, we are talking to the CEO of Navisage Consulting, Tim Moses, with us. And today we're going to talk to him about, is India now producing a workforce that is really employable or not? What do you have to say, Tim?
Thank you, Ritika, for having me here. Indian workforce has been the key to India growing to where it is right now.
Yeah.
However, India has a long way to go in terms of future technology, upgradation of facilities in terms of manufacturing, and also the education system, which needs to cope with the changing need in industry, where technology has played a very key role, where you're finding that the process of manufacturing itself has been utilizing robotics, virtual reality,
Yeah.
and technology to a very key component of integrating how the manufacturing process itself is. India is facing a challenge in having an educated workforce that is lacking in knowledge in these key areas, that industry is struggling to hire qualified people.
So you're saying inherently there's a problem right now that we're producing a lot of people, let's say engineers coming out of engineering colleges, but they're not really skilled enough to work on their field, and they're not really skilled enough to be doing what they are good at.
That's the key challenge now. We are having engineers coming out of engineering college and driving auto rickshaws, doing delivery for delivery
Delivery
services,
companies.
and not really doing engineering. They are not working for manufacturing companies. They are not producing products.
Yeah.
They are not in the process. The key lack there is because the employability of these engineers for a company is a lead time of 6 months. By the time you onboard a new resource, you train the new resource, you take him through the entire process,
Yep.
and then make him productive, it's going to take 3 to 6 months, which is a lead time that companies are not willing to spend on. So they rather lateral hire.
So you're an engineer, I'm sorry to interrupt you there. You're an engineer, but you don't have the skills to be employed as an engineer. Have I understood that correctly?
That's right, because the need of industry has technology that is far more newer. Need for technically qualified engineers are not there.
Yeah.
So if I have to train somebody into the modern technology of advanced vehicles, intelligent vehicles, or intelligent processes, machines that can talk back to us, I don't have the resources that have that kind of a knowledge, because we are not teaching them that.
So how many civil engineers are we producing in the country that are really employed as civil engineers, right?
There is a small market for them, where the brilliant and the smart kids get hired by big companies, and then they go through their learning process, management trainees, or their probationary workforce. But that does not meet the large need of industry, especially the SMM, small and medium businesses,
Right.
because they are not going to be paying you the kind of big money. They are not going to be hiring the top cream of the class. They are going to look at resources that they can afford, but they also want resources that can be productive for them, that can work for them, that can make them competitive and also add value to them.
But Tim, we are talking about a skill development model that you're developing, and you're talking about the institutions taking it up. First of all, I have to understand from you, what is it that you as a CEO of Navisage Consulting, what are you trying to achieve here? What is your ultimate goal?
Our immediate goal is to set up a pilot project in a rural institution that has the potential to be transformed by participation by industry, government agencies, and also to enable them to use resources available, whether it is CSR funding or industry participation, and transform their ability to develop skilled workforce. The skilled workforce not only learn based on what is currently being taught through the educational system, but because industry is participating in the process of knowledge transformation, you will find that the industry is setting the bar as to what is the knowledge that they require for them to employ these students.
And you're the enabler
Yes.
in telling the institution as to what is it that the industry needs right now. Therefore, you're helping develop those skilled labors.
So here we participate on two sides. On one side, we look at the industry and we understand their problem of qualified workforce.
Okay.
And we enable them to set up pilot projects or a small scalable model of a manufacturing process and have the workforce trained in the institution itself, so that at the end result is that the industry has a target workforce that they can absorb every year, or in their similar segment that they can have these people employed, which makes sure that that need of qualified workforce is met.
And this is particularly the manufacturing industry that you're talking about, the manufacturing sector?
Manufacturing sector is one of the key areas where we are focused on,
Okay.
because manufacturing plays a key role in nation building.
But then that brings me to the question, Tim, that have you been able to, let's say, rather sell the idea to any institution so far?
So we are currently working with Sedu Institute of Technology.
Okay.
They are a 25-year-old college that is focused on becoming an MIT of India. That is the vision of the chairman. So we are partnering with them in transforming the institution by bringing in quasi-government organization like National Skill Development Council. We also working with various ministries, also enabling the participation of the students in learning foreign languages to enable them to work in countries outside India. For example, a Korean company or a Japanese firm would like workforce that have knowledge of Korean and Japanese, and also have some skills that they can employ based on the government-to-government understanding that we have right now.
That's a very interesting point, Tim, because since you mentioned the language bit, is this also going to, is this model, if I can call it, is this also going to help cater to the labor demands that, let's say, the skilled labor needs in the other countries, which right now, let's say, have older populations, let's say a country like Japan.
Right.
We can probably skill our people who are educated, who
Right.
who study in the best of universities, institutions,
Yeah.
but working on a model like yours and learning the language and therefore getting the right skill, they could be employed in countries abroad.
So there are a lot of countries which are non-English speaking, which have an aging population, and India has a large workforce. The average Indian age group is at around 30 to 35, which makes us a highly employable workforce. Given that a lot of companies are investing in India, they would have their workforce trained in their environment, in their country, and then have them come back and work in India in their own factories. So not only do these workforce get trained at a location which has the highest standard of practices and the skills, it also will bring them in touch with the latest technology, the latest models of different products, and then bring that same workforce back in a few years back into the Indian environment and transform the Indian environment to a world standard manufacturing facility.
That's a good point. Bring them back to the Indian environment so that they're employable and their skills have reached a stage that they've reached that bar where they're employable back in their own country.
India has to continue to set the pace,
Yes.
which we are not currently in the space of manufacturing. In information technology, we are definitely leading the pack. The CEOs of all the top information technology companies are mostly Indians.
But we've had enough of the world telling us that, we produce the best of IT people and the best of IT laborers and the best of software engineers and stuff like that. Now we need to move forward and focus on the manufacturing sector, like you said.
So if you find that India owns Land Rover and Jaguar, and we still need to create a brand from scratch at that standard, and that we have Indians working in the Ferraris and the Lamborghinis, but we need to create an environment here where they are able to flourish in our ecosystem.
Right.
And in our environment, and that starts at the educational level. If you're going to teach them artificial intelligence, you want to set up virtual classrooms, virtual labs, virtual facilities, then their ability to touch and feel and learn it into a virtual medium enables them to work in a cutting-edge factory with a very short transformation period of transitioning into that environment. So our process is to enable the different inputs in terms of knowledge, in terms of resources, in terms of infrastructure, to make this environment conducive.
All right.
And Sedu Institute of Technology has been a partner where we are working towards enabling these environments and show them as an example of how best a transformation can happen in the middle of rural India.
Okay. All right. I'm going to end the interview by asking you two last questions. Number one, how many institutions do you, or you must be having a goal, how many institutions do you now plan to work with on this particular model? How many, is this only going to be concentrated somewhere in South India, because you talked about SIT, it's in Madurai, southern institutions, or what is your plan there? And number two, what do you think that our Indian government can really help you achieve this goal? Or are the Indian governments going to be helpful in a way?
The government definitely has a role, and I think they are doing their bit in the process of transforming education policy. The vision is there, but the participation of private educational institutions is the key, because they are the volume student educators.
So the private institutions, you're saying, do not adopt it?
It's not a question of not adopting it. It is enabling them in terms of next generation transformation. A lot of the institutions you will find are established 25, 30 years ago. And that has leadership, that has experience based on their life for the past 25, 30 years. Which is great and key to an institution's success. However, they also have the next line of leaders developing and growing, who would like to see them transform into world-class institutions, be the standard bearers, so that the level of education makes them prime marketplace for industry to come and recruit students, participate with them, because industry has a key role in the education process itself, because they are the end beneficiary. And if industry does not play a role now in transforming knowledge, then there is going to be a gap in terms of the ability to have hireable workforce. You're going to have joblessness and the resultant issues based on that. So the opportunity is to maximize the number of industries, participation with institutions. So South being an area where it's a more English language speaking region, the ability to quickly move towards other languages is easier than when you move into more backward areas. Where the transformation process is a little bit more challenging.
So, is there a number that you're looking at? How many institutions would you be trying to achieve a goal with Navisage?
So, Navisage will work with sets of institutions. So, we are looking at an immediate 10 to 15 institutions that we can partner with and work with, and all of which it will be to focus on specific industry partners, so that each industry partner has an institution to partner with for a specific need that they have. This enables the entire transformation of the education system.
Right.
You're not replicating the same process in other institutions. Rather, you are creating a wider range of workforce with more skills, employable across the platform. So that end of the day, there is a more talented workforce that starts to create a new way of thinking. And the incubation of ideas in colleges can result in startup companies being developed there and result in Indian participation in the global environment.
So, what is your, okay, fine question. What is your response so far, and how positive are you that there's going to be an entire transformation and you're going to help in this transformation in our, let's say, manufacturing sector?
So, the response has been pretty amazing in terms of both the students, in terms of the faculty, and also
tell me about
in
students.
terms of...
They must be more thrilled now to be studying in an environment which is giving them more of a practical knowledge and making them into this skilled worker rather than just having a bookish knowledge.
Absolutely. I think, when you start introducing today's young students into the world around them, give them access to resources, give them the inputs, they are like sponges. They absorb things very quickly. They probably learn quicker than the teachers themselves.
Yeah.
And today, because of technology, they have access to these resources. The ability to create a working environment for them to experience things that otherwise is only based on YouTube videos or other learning platforms. The practical experience is something that is invaluable. Our role is to enable, through our team, build in specialists with specific knowledge areas and participate in the transformation of both the trainers, the teachers, the management. And thereby, the transformation is complete throughout the institution. Not only do the teachers learn better and are able to teach better, they are taught different current technologies and current ways of doing things. They also experience the industry participation, which is key in terms of education institutions. So that is the target to which we are moving towards.
All right. Thank you so much, Tim, for this enlightening discussion. And, I learned a lot today. And I would just say that let's hope that what Navisage Consulting is trying to do and what Tim is trying to achieve here, this really leads to a transformation in our country. And we don't just produce people, Indians, as educated Indians. We produce them as educated, employable citizens of the country who are skilled to not just work in India but also globally. Thank you so much for watching Bharat Voice today.
Thank you, Ritika.